Today, Friday, the 7th of February 2025, we have some hand-picked match predictions to share with you, which will be backed up by some stats and analytics to help you make your picks in this list to boost your winning by a greater percent. And to those of you who want to have access to our hand-picked match prediction events, which we share to members only, especially for this weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, then you want to make sure that you subscribe to the Level 2 Pro plan or the Level 3 Master plan to have access to these features to take your winning to the next height. To those of you who want to join, the link is below this video description. But before we proceed to the game event of today, I first of all want to say congratulations based on yesterday's event, for we all registered wins. And of course, I will share with you the result. So let's look at yesterday's result. So congratulations on yesterday's event, for we all registered wins. Of course, I will share with you all the results. We looked at a total of 6 events yesterday, and it was very successful. So congratulations. Looking at the first event, we looked at Azerbaijan in the first league, where we looked at Tifa Aksu against Gabala. And this event, we specified Gabala to take the lead. It was successful. Congratulations. In the next, we looked at Premier League of Lebanon, where we said that the home team is going to lead. We also said that there will be the possibility of at least 1.5 goals or 2 goals over. It ended as 3-1, a total of 4 goals, the home leading, and also 1.5 and 2 goals over. Congratulations, it was successful. In the next, we looked at Saudi Arabia in the professional league, where we looked at Al Qadisiyah to lead. We also looked at least 1.5 going full time. It ended as 2-0. Qadisiyah, the home team, lead, and as well as the possibility of at least 1.5 going full time. Congratulations, it was successful. In the next, we looked at Netherlands Cup, Agma against Quick Boys, and I specifically state that there will be the possibility of 1.5 going full time as well as 2.5 goals. Both cases were true, and Agma also lead, making it a huge success. Congratulations. In the next, we looked at England in the EFL Cup. We said that Liverpool and Tottenham, we have the possibility of more goals here. In this case, Liverpool took the offensive, scoring up to 4 goals of 0 against Tottenham, making it a very huge success as well. And finally, we looked at Coupe de Rey, Spain, and we said that Barcelona will lead, and also there will be the possibility of much goals. Barcelona ended up slapping Valencia up to 5 goals to 0, making it a possible win as well, and as well as the possibility of 1.5 and 2.5 going full time, making us to have a huge success. So congratulations to you all, for we all registered wins. So let's now move to the game predictions of today. And now let's proceed to today's event. But before we move on, I'll have a quick announcement to share with you. If you come here to the front page of our channel here titled as the home, you're going to notice that we will also provide match predictions to members only in terms of goals predictions and corner kicks. And if you want to have access to these features, then of course you want to make sure to join the Level 2 Pro plan or the Level 3 Master plan to have access to this hand-pick event to take your winning to the next height. Not only are you going to have access to this, but you also have additional access, especially, for example, if you're a member of the Level 2 Pro plan, you also have access to the Level 2 Pro classes. For example, if you are the member of the Level 2 Pro plan, you're also going to have access to Level 2 Pro classes, which will give you access to our top-notch tutorial, like the live match corner kick strategy to make consistent win, simple trick to win consistently, never seen soccer match prediction strategy being explained, comeback soccer bet match prediction strategy step by step, never seen straight win and 2.5 goal strategy, as well as 99% win rate strategy, which you can use. In other words, if you are a member of the Level 2 Pro plan, you're also going to have access to these features. All of these videos, you can watch them in one place once you're a member of the Level 2 Pro plan. I'll also put the link below this video so that when you subscribe as a Level 2 Pro member, you can come directly to the link below, which will give you access to all of these match prediction tutorials to watch it and start taking your winning to the next height. But if you are a member of the Level Master plan or Master class, you're going to have access to the top AI tool we use to find games in terms of goals probability and straight wins, You are going to have access to our corner kicks match prediction strategy, the secret website we use, as well as the strategy we use to find corner kicks that makes us consistent win. You also have access to the amazing AI tool we use, the home and away match prediction strategy being explained step by step for better winning, and also 2.5 goal strategy to beat the bookies and win even more. Once you're a member of these classes, of course, you're going to have access to this top-notch tutorial. So you want to make sure to join which level you want, so that you're also going to have access to our hand-picked match prediction events, as well as our top-notch match prediction betting classes to take your winning to the next level. To those of you who want to join, the link is below. Click, navigate, and join to have access to all of these features to start taking your winning to the next height. So without wasting time, let's proceed with the game event we have to share with you today. Looking at the first event, we are looking at Thailand in the Thai League 1, a match between Bangkok United playing against Rayong FC. For this particular event, the recent performance of Bangkok United recently have proved to be very offensive, especially recent game they have had in the FSC, that is in the Thai FA Cup, as well as in the T1. They have performed greatly, scoring 2-3 goals in each event. The opponent, on the other hand, proved to concede more, even though they also have a high offensive power at some events. Of course, now looking at the stand performance comparison of these two in terms of the form performance of the home by the recent game they have had, the home proved to have a great offense, scoring 12 goals in just 5 events, proved that the offensive rate is good. That of its opponent, on the other hand, in terms of the defensive line, proved that the defensive line is not very tight. And looking at everything in place, we want to look at 2 to 3 major picks in full time. For this particular event, the defensive line of the away is not very tight. And since the home have a very great offense, we look at either the home team to lead in this event in full time, or the possibility of at least 1.5 goal to occur in this match in full time. These are our 2 major picks. 1, the home team to lead, or 2, at least 1.5 goal to occur in this match in full time, since the defensive line of the away is not very tight and the away may also want to impress. Looking at the next, we'll look at India in the I-League, a match between Inter Kashi against Dempo. For this event, the recent performance of Inter Kashi recently have proved to be very offensive, scoring 3 goals in each event. The performance of its opponent, on the other hand, defensive line is not very tight with an average offensive rate. And looking at the recent stats in terms of the recent gameplay they have had, of course, the performance of the home by recent event have proved that they are very offensive. Scoring 16 goals in just 5 events proved that they have a very high average goal scoring capacity. Comparing to that of its opponent, on the other hand, the defensive line, of course, is not very tight. You can see the offensive rate also is not very strong. And looking at everything in place, we want to look at 2 major picks in full time. For this particular event, the home performance is very offensive. And since the defense of the away is not very tight, we want to look at the high offensive rate of the home to take advantage of the weak defense of the away to either lead this match in full time as one of the major picks. And we also want to look at least 1.5 goal in full time or 2 goals over. Therefore, look at 1, the home to lead. 2, 1.5 goal in full time. 3, 2 goals over. These are our major picks for this particular event. Looking at the next, we looked at Saudi Arabia in the Saudi Professional League, a match between Al Nassr with Al Fayha. For this event, the recent performance of Al Nassr recently have proved to be very offensive. Even in the CL, that is in the AFC Champions League, they proved to be very offensive and scoring 4 and 3 goals in each event based on recent match they have had. Its opponent, on the other hand, is not a very strong defensive team, and the offensive rate is not also very tight. And looking at the recent performance in terms of form, Al Nassr proved to sit on a better place, scoring 10 goals in 5 events. That's a good offense with a defensive line that is average, but that of its opponent, Fayha, on the other hand, of course, the defensive line here is not very tight with an average offense as well. And looking at everything in place, we want to look at 2 major picks in full time. For this particular event, the performance of the home recently have been very amazing. And the fact that the away also have a defense which is not very tight, and we also want to try to improve. Of course, both of the 2 sides want to impress. As a result, we look at least 1.5 goal to occur in this match in full time as our major pick. These are our only match prediction possibility for this, at least 1.5 goal in full time. Looking at the next, we looked at Jordan in the Premier League, a match between Al Faseli Aman against Man. For this event, of course, the recent performance of the home have proved to have great offense, scoring 2 and 1 goal in each event. But that of the away, especially the defensive line, proved to be very weak in terms of recent event they have had. Looking at the stands in terms of the recent gameplay they've had, of course, the performance of the home have proved that they sit on the better place, scoring 10 goals in 5 gameplay, proved that they have a good offense, and the defense is not very tight. But the offensiveness of the away in terms of the defensive line proved that the defensive line is very weak. And looking at everything in place, we want to look at 2 major picks in full time. For this particular event, the stance or defensive line of the away is not very tight, And since the fact that the home have proved to be offensive in terms of recent game played, with a very weak defensive line of the away, we want to look at least the possibility of 1.5 goal to occur in this match in full time. Looking at the next, we looked at Croatia in the HNL, a match between Dynamo Zagreb against Šibenik. The recent performance of Dynamo Zagreb, based on recent events they have had, proved that they are very offensive, scoring 2, 3, and 3 goals in each event, even in the CL, that is in the Champions League. That is in the Champions League recently, which they had against AC Milan. They also lead. Šibenik, on the other hand, also proved to concede much goals. And looking at the stand performance in terms of recent gameplay they have had, the home Dynamo Zagreb have proved to be very offensive. Here, they scored 9 goals in 5 events with a defense which is not very tight. Šibenik also, on the other hand, will also want to impress. And the fact that they have a very weak defensive line, want to look at 2 to 3 major picks in full time. For this particular event, the recent performance of Dynamo Zagreb recently have proved to be very offensive. They've had game in the Champions League against AC Milan, where they had a lead, and of course, the recent game played proved to be amazing. That of the opponent, on the other hand, also have at least an offensive line which is not that bad, but the defense is not very tight. As a result, we look at both sides to take advantage of each other to increase their rating impression with more shoot on and off target. Therefore, we are looking at least the possibility of 1.5 goal to occur in this match in full time as one of the major picks, or 2 goals over. In the next event, we looked at Cyprus in the Cyprus League, a match between Omonia 29 May against Omonia. Of course, the performance of the away recently in terms of recent game they have had proved that they have a very strong offensive lineup, and of course that of the home in terms of recent game played have proved that they concede a lot of goals. The defensive line is not very tight, and looking at the stand performance by recent game play they have had, performance of the away Omonia have proved that they lead this table, scoring 10 goals and conceding 1, a very high offensive rate with a great defense. But that of the home in terms of recent gameplay they have had proved that, of course, the defensive line is not very tight, and we look at 2 major picks here in full time. For this particular event, the away proved to be very offensive, and the defensive line also of the away is very tight, but that of the home defense is not very strong, and we look at the way to take advantage of the weak defense of the home to lead this match in full time as one of the major picks. We also want to look at least the possibility of 1.5 goal in full time or 2 goals over. These are our 2 major picks for this particular event. Looking at the next, we look at Saudi Arabia in the professional league, Al Hilal against Al Fateh. For this event, the recent performance of Al Hilal recently have proved very offensive, scoring 5, 3, and 2 goals in each event. Al Fateh, on the other hand, concede much with a very weak defensive line. And looking at the recent gameplay they have had in terms of the goal match played by the home and away, Al Hilal have proved very offensive, scoring 12 goals in just 5 events with 3 conceded goals. That's a good offense. But that of the away, in terms of recent gameplay they have had, proved that the defensive line is very weak, and as a result, we look at 2 to 3 major picks in full time. For this particular event, the performance of the home have proved to be very offensive, and the fact that the defensive line of the away is very weak, of course, we want to look at the possibility of 1.5 goal in full time, as well as 2.5 goals in full time, and also the possibility of at least the home team to take the lead in full time. Looking at the next, we looked at Iceland in the League Cup Women, the match between Keflavik women against Breiðablik. The recent performance of the home Keflavik have proved that, of course, they are also very offensive, scoring 4 and 3 goals in each event. Breiðablik also, on the other hand, the recent comeback here, based on the recent event they have had, proved also to have a very high offensive rate, scoring high amount of goal with a high offense. Of course, we looked at 2 to 3 major picks here. Since the recent head-to-head they had not that far ago resulted to 2-0, that is a total of at least 1.5 goal. This time, Breiðablik still have a very good form, and they are going away, and the home with also a very high offense recently in terms of game they have had, prove that they also have the probability of scoring. So we look at 2 major picks here in full time. For this particular event, both of the 2 sides want to impress, and since the recent performance of both sides have proved to have high offensive rating in terms of goal scoring, there will still be the probability of high impression rate in this particular tournament. Therefore, we looked at least 1.5 goal in full time or 2 goals over. Looking at the next, we looked at Bayern Munich against Werder Bremen in the Germany Bundesliga. The recent performance of Bayern Munich recently have proved very offensive, scoring 4, 3, and 3 goals in the recent event they've had. With opponent Werder Bremen also, on the other hand, is a very also good offensive team, scoring at least 2 goals in each event recently. Looking at the stand performance in terms of recent gameplay, of course, performance of Bayern Munich at home proved that they are very offensive. They topple this table, scoring 34 goals in 10 games. Of course, they have high offensive rate. That of its opponent, Werder Bremen, also on the other hand, is a team also that have good offensive rate, scoring 20 goals based on 10 events, also prove that they are good with a defense which is not very tight. And looking at everything in place, we want to look at 2 to 3 major picks in full time. For this particular event, the performance of the home and away, both sides are good in terms of goal scoring. And since both of the 2 sides want to impress, With this high scoring capacity they are coming to meet, the impression rate will be high shoot on and off target as well, resulting to goals probability. At least 1.5 going full time or 2 goals over is our major pick for this particular event. In the next event, we looked at Belgium in the Super League Women, a match between Genk Women against Anderlecht. The recent performance of Anderlecht have proved very offensive in the recent game they have had in the Super League against Leuven, where they had a lead 4-3. That of Genk recently have proved more concede very much amount of goals, and this time they are coming to meet. Looking at the stand performance of the home team in terms of recent event they have played, show that the home have a very weak defensive line, and looking at that, the away will take advantage of the weak defense of the home, with the away having a very high offensive power. They are coming to strike here, and of course, we look at 2 to 3 major picks in full time. For this particular event, of course, we want to look at Anderlecht, the away team, to lead in full time as one of the major picks. Also want to look at the possibility of 1.5 going full time, as well as 2.5 goals to occur in this match in full time. These are our major pick for this particular event. And to those of you who want to have access to our handpick events, which we have just shared to members only, as well as match prediction for corner kicks and goals probability in terms of our top list, with huge odds to take your winning to the next height, then of course you want to make sure to access the level 2 pro plan or access the level 3 master plan to have access to these features to take your winning to the next height. Not only are you going to have this event match pick, but you also have access to our top-notch betting class tutorials, which we share to members only, to also start taking your winning to the next height. Good luck and see you again in the next upload, and bye bye for now.